G'day, Kyle ROPA here from Farmers Warehouse at Singleton in the Lower Hunter Valley. We're here today to talk about inoculation of legumes and good legume management, specifically in pastures. Today we're out in a paddock of freshly sown lucerne, about 3 weeks old. I guess some of the questions that I get asked as an agronomist around legumes is, how good is the long life coats and things like that that are commercially available with many of your clovers and lucernes and things like that. And they do work well, they are really good. We've moved away from, I guess, the process of self-inoculation with clovers and lucernes, especially, to using these commercially pre-done products. The key thing is still fresh, and fresh is best, I guess, and making sure they are providing that. It's not last year's seed, because at the end of the day, you're looking at, especially with lucerne, you've got a 5-year investment at least, and you want to be getting the most out of that. With crops such as vetch and peas and things like that, or in summer cowpeas, lab, those kind of products, they aren't available with a long life coat or pre-coated or pre-treated. So it is critical that you you look to use a peat moss inoculant to get the most out of that crop and allow that crop to actually produce its own nitrogen through the rhizobia that you're coating onto that seed, and getting the most out of that crop. When using one of the peat products for treating your seed, number one, make sure you get the right group. Might sound obvious, but make sure you look up what you're using and get the right group to coat on your seed. Number two, making sure that peat that you're buying is actually fresh as well. They all have a use by date sticker on those sachets that you buy. And the key thing is not coating seed the week before or something like that. Plan it that you're going to coat it the day you're going to use it, and get it in the ground as quickly as possible. Those microbes, the bacteria, aren't going to survive on that seed longer than 24 hours and keeping that population up. So one of the other key things we look at is when you're making up a mix, or you might be getting your local store to mix up a pre-done seed mix or something like that, or you might be doing it at home, buying the different legumes and grasses to go in. Don't assume that a clover and a lucerne is going to be able to inoculate a vetch plant. They're completely different groups. Even though they're in contact, they're not going to carry over into that group. So make sure that you get the right group inoculant and treat those untreated seeds that you may be putting into that mix separately to that of the other pre-treated seeds. One of the other major things with inoculants is making sure in your planting phase that you're doing some soil testing, making sure that your ground is right in terms of pH, getting some lime on there if necessary. Trace elements, molybdenum is a major factor in legumes and rhizobia working properly together. So making sure you got good levels of that and delivering that however you need to by a granular fertiliser or a liquid may be. A lot of your commercially pre-treated products are going to have a lime coating and a trace element coating around that seed. But if you're going and using other legumes that you're having to coat yourself, make sure that you've got the soil right beforehand, and even with those commercially treated ones, if your soil is not right in terms of pH, that's going to be a major influencer on the success of that crop going forward, and obviously how that rhizobia interacts and works with the plant. Keep in mind, pesticides and fungicides can have an impact on those rhizobia, especially in the early stages. So making sure, best practice, using them when needed, not just for the sake of using them. So go out there in the paddock, check why you need to be using those products and if it's necessary at the time to reduce that risk of any damage.